agent of the universe. This will be a slightly shorter letter, and in it I want to show you the observances, niyamas, that guide me in yoga. The first is a dedication to cleanliness. There are so many layers to this. A clean home, office, environment that is not filled with clutter or draped in memories that keep pulling you into your past. A past we tend to look at as if it were an opium den of happy memories devoid of pain. The more clutter we have around us, the more our attention keeps being pulled away from us. There's also cleanliness of our body, the home of our soul. Feed it well, wash it, treat it with exercise, kindness, and sleep. Yes, sleep. Here comes that sexy nerdy talk that you like so much. Running like a river around our spine and brain is our cerebrospinal fluid, CSF. Our CSF not only drains out toxins such as dead white blood cells and other debris, but acts as a bouncy castle that keeps our brain buoyant and protected from shock. It is during sleep that the brain shrinks and through the process of osmosis removes the waste out of the CSF and into our lymphatic draining system. When we don't get enough sleep, there's a backup of waste that can lead to severe neurological diseases, like what would happen if you lived in a trash heap. There has also been some talk in the medical field that lack of sleep and waste drainage is linked to the development of Alzheimer's. Sleep is also the time when all the information we've learned during the day gets downloaded from our short-term memory drive into our hippocampus, our long-term memory drive, which is in our limbic system. So the less sleep you get, the dumber you become. It is as simple as that. Lastly, when we don't get enough sleep, we move towards being more reactive beings, engaging in our emotional brain, rather than the more calm, analytical being by speaking with our frontal cortex. Thought takes energy, whereas emotion is the reactive tool of exhaustion. One of the best ways to keep our mind clean is by not dumping layer upon layer of musical, TV, internet garbage into it. Be selective as to what you put in your brain. Just as you are selective about what you put in your body, your clothes, your hair, it is a wonder anyone can find their soul. It is a wonder that anyone can find their soul these days, with all the massive heaps of nonsense we just keep injecting into our hippocampus, which then becomes the database that we dive into in search of a reaction when anything at all happens to us. You are what you think. Remember that. How often in your day do you just sit and not put anything in your brain at all? How often do you give your brain a complete break? It is what we do when we come to our mat in yoga, when we engage in conscious breath and when we meditate. We allow ourselves to be observers of just how much crap is floating around in our head. I personally have reduced how much nonsense I put in my head by nearly 80%. Well, except for last week when I dumped a whole lot of Mormon hearsay into it. The second observance is contentment through acceptance of all that is beyond our control. The first place you can start with this is on your mat, by accepting your pose, instead of looking around the room and wanting it to look like the person next to you or your teacher. In yoga, a perfect pose is one in which your breathing is constant, your focus is on your breath, and you are comfortable and hence content. We spend so much of our time fighting things that we have no control over at all. For example, I could be angry that you want to marry a Mormon and expel loads of energy in trying to change your mind and have all Mormon women interned and hypnotized or drugged. Or I can accept that no matter what I do, change can only come from you, and that this is your life and your journey, and just surrender to it. Thus opening at least 10 football fields of space in my mind to fuel my own happiness and growth, instead of kicking thoughts of changing you up and down those fields all day to no avail at all. Acceptance not only fuels contentment, but it creates space within us to change our own lives. Space for us to fill all those football fields with thoughts of happiness, contentment, bliss, and gratitude. So when your mind arrives at the stadium, it comes to a place of tranquility. 10 empty green fields instead of 10 full-blown games with screaming crowds. The latter is how so many people's minds look these days. Pure chaos. The third is self-discipline and doing something to the best of your ability. In yoga, it is making a commitment to your practice, even if it is 10 minutes a day. The basis of change, progress, and growth is mastering discipline and at the same time breaking habits. Discipline takes mental agility and effort, whereas habit is a laziness that we unconsciously do the same thing over and over again until it is something that our body does without the assistance of our mind. With yoga, there is an enormous amount of discipline needed to meditate every day, to consciously observe yourself, to change your neurological highway to teach yourself to be happy, accepting, open, to follow yamas and niyamas. The fourth observance, therefore, is to study yourself without judgment. It is the investigation into the unconscious patterns that govern our lives. Not just our thoughts, actions, behaviors, but also your smell, your skin, your tongue, and external self. As our outside body, life, and relationships are a reflection of our inner self. It is also the study of knowledge, ancient texts to guide you and give you the tools to navigate yourself and learn how to slowly erase all the layers that fog up your soul. I find these days that when I go out, there's always two of me. The me that interacts with the external world, and the me that sits back and observes my interactions, seeking to understand where it all comes from. You will be happy to know that being with me, therefore, is like being in a threesome. The ultimate observance in yoga, which you will no doubt understand, is surrendering to the universe and the universal consciousness that pervades everything, including ourselves. You don't have to believe in an anthropomorphic representation of God to accept that there is a divine design, a benevolent essence in the universe. There is no such thing as coincidence, chance, or miracles. We are connected to the infinite space that surrounds us, and if we trust and surrender to it, it will surprise us time and time again. It is accessible to every single one of us, without baptisms, rituals, or customs. But you have to do the work, because remember, there's no app that'll get you there. Love, the Enchanted Yogi.